Hey, what's up, Vox&Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocals of Cryptopsy, and you're listening to my podcast, Vox&Hops, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians to talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. Devastation on the Nation is less than 1 month away now. This year's lineup features Rotting Christ, Borknagar, Wolfheart, Abigail Williams, and Imperial Triumphant, and more shows have sold out. Since last week, we are at a total of 3 shows that have sold out. I can guarantee you that this is not going to be the end of these shows selling out. There will be more shows that will sell out. If you do not have your tickets yet, if you intend on coming to this epic, amazing tour that is starting in less than a month, you should absolutely get your tickets right now via the link in the description of this podcast, or you could simply go to metalfestivaltours.com. Trust me, this is a party that you do not want to miss. Devastation on the Nation 2020 is proudly brought to you by Metal Festival Tours, Continental Touring, and the Vox&Hops podcast. Speaking of a party you do not want to miss, I have organized the Vox&Hops Devastation on the Nation craft beer parties. These are either pre-show parties or after parties where you can come out, you can drink some craft beer that has been brewed specially for these events. Each of these events have their own custom beer that has been made by amazing people. Much love and respect to everyone that's helped hook this up. You can come out, you can party alongside other Vox&Hops heads, the Devastation on the Nation crew and band members, and at some of these events, even I'm going to be there. All information for the Vox&Hops Devastation on the Nation craft beer parties is available on metalfestivaltours.com. Check it out, come out, and party Devastation on the Nation craft beer style.
Hi everybody, this is Philippe Tyron Boucher and you're listening to Vox&Hops.
Hey, thank you so much, Phil. I had such a great chat with Phil the other day. I can't wait to release it. We had such a good time. We were at Pub Brewski here in Montreal. It is really one of the best new tap rooms. They just celebrated their 1-year anniversary for their new tap room that they set up last year right on the old port. It is absolutely amazing. They are finally brewing their own beers in the facility since last August, and they are just killing it. Creamy, juicy IPAs, new smoothie-style sours and IPAs, and they are killing it with the pastry stouts. So a huge shout-out to Pub Brewski, and a huge shout-out to Phil from Beyond Creation. If you live in Europe, there is a killer tour coming your way where Beyond Creation will be out there alongside Decapitated and Ingested. Trust me, this is a tour that you should be checking out. Huge shout out to Phil and the rest of the Beyond Creation boys. Much love and respect. On today's episode, I am with Fredrik Kihlberg of Cult of Luna. Here it is, Vox&Hops, episode number 115.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Today I'm with Fredrik Kihlberg, and I'm super stoked to be here. You are from Cult of Luna. As before we started recording this, I said I've interviewed over 100 people, and I'm probably the biggest fan of your band out of all the bands that I've spoken to, which is saying a lot.
Wow, I'm blushing.
But you should. You guys got something special. I remember the day that I listened to your the first Cult of Luna record was Vertical. I woke up extremely hungover on New Year's Day after a very good New Year's Eve party, and I had to go to my wife's grandmother's house for a party, and it was quite a drive. Luckily, I wasn't driving, so I popped in Vertical, and it was just love at first hear, and I haven't looked back. I went back and explored everything, so thank you so much. I'm honored for sitting down with me right now.
My pleasure.
Let's start at the beginning. Classic Vox&Hops question. What is the soundtrack of your youth? When you're growing up in your home, what music was playing when you were not in control of the record player?
Oh man, it was probably like Exile on Main Street with the Rolling Stones, or some other kind of 60s pop, Beatles or The Who, or that's basically what I was brought up with. Yeah.
At what point did you discover, and when you had control, what was that first band that was your band?
I remember the first record I bought with my own money was the Guns N' Roses record. I think it's GNR Lies.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I bought.
And what made you gravitate towards that?
It was something in his voice that I thought sounded not like any other. So that's basically what drew me towards it, and of course the way they looked at the time, I thought they were super cool. Yeah,
I remember Axel was on the cover of some, I think it was Rolling Stone or something when I was at my parents' friend's house.
Yeah.
And he had a nipple ring and he had no shirt on, and I was immediately like drawn to it. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
He's sort of sexy. Do I like that? What's wrong with me? I'm a guy, but he's got long hair and sort of cute. I remember that distinctly. Just traumatizing my youth.
Yeah. I can't imagine. No, but that was the first record I bought, and but I was still kind of listening to. I never really let go of the Rolling Stones and all that, and still to this day, it's those records. I listen to them almost every day. So it's yeah.
So you grew up in a steady place, musically.
Yeah. My mother and father were very into music, and music was playing all the time, and kind of a broad variety of music, everything from like ABBA, Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Deep Purple, all that stuff. So that was kind of what I was brought up with, and it's still with me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I know that Sweden has a very strong culture towards music.
Yeah.
It's important. They invest a lot into the music schools, and it's a part of your curriculum in high school and throughout schooling.
Yeah.
Very different than here. Did you automatically gravitate towards the guitar? Was that the first?
No, I didn't start playing guitar until I was almost 18 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So what was that first love?
Well, my father, he tried to encourage me. He actually built me electrical guitar, but I was like, thanks, Dad. And
it's sat in the closet.
Yeah. It's like, well, I don't really know what to do with this. I'm not very into it. So I just kind of left it hanging, and I was more into playing like the piano, and I was singing. That was what I was doing, and still to this day, that's my main instrument, I think, still. So that's the way I approach instruments also. Playing the guitar, I rarely sit down and just play, and there's a riff. It's always in my head. I always sing it first, and then I kind of translate it to piano
that's very interesting.
or guitar. Yeah, that's the way I do it.
That's fun. Yeah. Do you remember why you started playing guitar? Why did you finally succumb and go back?
Well, I am again with the Rolling Stones. I was listening to one of the records, and the way they played guitar, Keith Richards and Ronnie Wood, and I was listening, and I just thought, this sounds so great. And then I, of course, saw pictures of Keith Richards, and I just thought, wow, he is the coolest guy ever.
I'm going to smoke cigarettes, drink booze, and play guitar.
Like, maybe I should try this.
Do you remember your first live concert experience when you went to go see a show?
Yeah. It was actually a Swedish, like, do you say boy band metal? It's a band called Europe. Yeah. Famous for the song The Final Countdown, maybe. A lot of people know that song.
I've definitely heard that one.
Yeah, and their guitar player, Key Marcello, at the time, he's from my home city, Umeå.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So this was probably around 86 or something like that. I was five years old. I was with my dad, of course, again, at like the local hockey arena. So yeah, that was my first concert memory.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Yeah,
I've had a bunch of worse answers than that one.
Yeah, no, I had a good one.
That was my song growing up.
Yeah,
in my dad's car.
Yeah,
play it again, Dad.
Yeah.
Play it again, Dad.
Yeah, it's still a great song. I love it to this day.
Belting hooks, yeah, absolutely. Vox&Hops is all about hanging out with metal dudes, talking about their lives, their music, and craft beer.
Yeah.
Today I brought you something special. It just came out. It's called the Ukulele IPA. It's a New England IPA, double dry hopped, with experimental hops. Mm-hmm. These are two hops that they sadly probably genetically modified to put into this beer.
Yeah.
It's the HBC 644 and the HBC 3 4-2. Let's see what the sucker's got. As I'm pouring this out, tell me, do you like craft beer?
Yes, I do. I mean, for the last 10 years, like we talked before you pressed rec, it's just been a boom everywhere, I guess. So you get to try a lot of these, especially when out touring.
It's the best part.
Yeah, that's the best part. You get to. We went to this place in Dallas just last week, Brain Dead Brewery or something like that, and tried a bunch of different kinds of craft beer, and it was great. Yeah.
It's obviously my favorite part of touring.
Yeah.
So. Cheers. Thank you so much for coming and drinking a beer with me.
Thank you so much.
It smells creamy, tropical. Yeah, a little bit dank, slightly tangy. Fruity, very fruity, tropical.
Yeah, it's very
mango.
Yeah, I get a lot of pineapple in this.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit of hop burn from the massive amounts of hops they threw into this.
Yeah, it's nice.
This is from Lagabière Brasserie Artisanale, from here, right outside of Montreal in Saint-Jean-sur-le-Richelieu. Lagabière's Ukulele IPA.
Yeah, I'm checking the alcohol.
It is 6%. Tell me about your first beer. Do you remember the first beer you ever drank?
Yeah, I mean, in Sweden we have you can't buy beer in just regular stores. That's over 3.5% alcohol. So there's we have
liquor stores.
We have liquor stores, but it's owned by the government. So there's just not random liquor stores. It's just the one. It's called Systembolaget, and there's the only place you can buy wine and booze and beer. Except if you go to like a convenience store, you can buy beer, but only up to 3.5%. So my first beer was 3.5% beer. That's what we used to buy with fake IDs when we were around 15 or something like that. You bought a 6-pack and you hung out with your friends down by the river, just drinking those beers, and that's actually the most of the beers I drink are still 3.5% because that's what I buy at the convenience store just to keep at home.
As opposed to going to the...
Yeah. I mean, I still go there, but you know, when you're picking up groceries, I buy a 6-pack and you have it have it at home. So.
Do you think the reason behind segregating the 3.5 and the higher is due to like a higher alcoholism rate in Sweden because of the darkness? Because it gets dark for so long up there? Is that tied together?
No, I don't think so, but I think it's well connected to like way back when people were like boozing a lot, and I mean back in the days they kept track of you could only buy you can only buy a certain amount of liquor, and they
you had like a ration, a quota.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So I don't think maybe it's has something to do with that, but there was a time maybe in the 70s you could buy 4.2% beers in convenience stores, but they got rid of that as well. So,
people just got too wild.
Yeah. I think they want to keep control of it. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the first time I hear about this. Yeah. Let's talk about the craft beer scene in Sweden. Having toured there, I know that it's really on point and it's going crazy like everywhere else in the world. What would be some of those breweries where you discovered craft beer through? Did you discover while you were on tour, or did you discover it back home?
I discovered it back home, I think. Yeah, there's a couple of them in. I mean, I come from Umeå. It's a town about 120,000 people, so it's not a big city at all. But as of now, I think there's at least 5 or 6 like local, pretty big.
For 120,000 people.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, and they are making great beers. Yeah, they are. So it was probably like an IPA that was like the first one I tried out.
And they're not like trapped into being 3.5%. They can make any percentage beers they want.
But they're still sold through Systembolaget. So,
got it. Yeah. If you want to go with a can, you can't buy a can from a brew pub.
No. I mean, no, not a brew pub, but the breweries, they sell them to the bars in the city, so you can buy them at a bar. But
yes, like a pint.
Yeah, like a pint, yeah.
But you can't walk away with a can.
No.
You have to go to the special.
Yeah. You can't drink outside. You can't walk around with a beer.
No? Okay, not like Germany. Okay.
No. Absolutely not.
It's frowned upon.
Yeah. I mean, people do it anyway, but you get a fine if they catch you.
Same as here in Canada. We're not allowed to walk around and be publicly inebriated, which is a good thing. Yeah. Let's dive back into the music. If you could go back in time in a time capsule and relive one tour that you've done out of all the tours you've done, because it was your favorite, it had the best moments, it had a horrible moment that became a fun moment in hindsight.
Yeah, wow. I mean, we always have such good times when we're out, but probably the first time when we went to the US in 2005, we were opening up for Mastodon. It was right before their big breakthrough, I guess. They've just come out with the record Leviathan. Killer album.
Absolutely.
And that was for like a month here, and that was absolutely an amazing experience. First time in the US for us, and opening up for them and hearing them play every night and just doing our thing. It was amazing, really. That's a good memory for sure.
There's lots of good memories on the road, but there's also some bad ones.
Yeah.
What would be a horrible day that you wouldn't want to relive?
Well, we had this tour in Europe probably around that time also. It was 6 weeks long, and we played, I think we did 40 shows before we had a day off.
Wow, yeah.
In a row, and it was in midwinter, like February or something like that, and it was freezing cold everywhere, and the car broke down and everyone was like sick with pneumonia and stuff, and it was just horrible. I think all of us cried at some point during that tour. It was I don't want to, I'm glad we did that tour, but I wouldn't ever want to go back and do it again. It was
no, there's some moments that you have to get through.
Yeah.
That helps you grow as a band, B, grow as a person.
Yeah.
And then you learn what to fix for future things.
Yeah. I mean, we were playing Berlin and packed up, and it was like 3 a.m, and we had to drive to Lyon. It was like an 18-hour drive, and it was just like that every day almost.
Just sitting in a Sprinter.
Yeah, sitting in a Sprinter. You got it. Yeah.
Before like, the bunks.
Yeah, before like GPS and everything. So we had printed out like the
MapQuest.
Yeah, MapQuest. And we were like sitting there. I was like, no, it's right. No, we missed it. Fuck.
Yeah, we have to go around.
Yeah. It was absolutely terrible. Yeah, but good experience, but don't ever want to do it again. No.
Second time capsule question: if you could go back and send yourself one album when you're just discovering music that you think would have catapulted your interest into the music and your abilities, what album would that be?
I mean, from now, like back to when I was a kid, or something like
exactly,
that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I like I said earlier, I still listen to those records from my childhood today, like Sabbath and Led Zeppelin. Probably one of those albums, I guess. Like, still to this day, I that's something I come back to and I listen to it. And, wow, this is so great.
What is it about those records that just keep captivating you?
all of those, I like the sound. I like it's so organic, and I love the way, like, all those Deep Purple and Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin albums, the drums, they sound so alive, I guess, and like these mid-rangey guitars, and and just the riffs are so great. That's
Do you feel that a lot of bands nowadays are unoriginal because there's so many bands that have been inspired by those bands?
Yeah, I don't know really, but for me it's still I guess music in a way is attached to memories.
Absolutely.
So, and I guess that's one of the reasons I keep coming back to them. The music is great, but it's also it gives me a great sense in my just great vibes, I guess.
Why do you think people can't capture that old school recording sound anymore? People are so obsessed with everything being clean nowadays.
Yeah, I mean it is, and I mean you get a whole other experience listening to records today, and that's, I mean, they're clean, super professional, and I love that too. But it's something with the live vibe, a band playing together vibe on those
absolutely.
Old records that I think is I'm missing that.
Is that something you strive to do? Have you done that with Foto Luna?
I mean, yeah, Somewhere Along the Highway. That's pretty much a live recorded album.
It's amazing.
We rented this kind of barn just a couple of miles outside of Umeå, and we recorded that. Just set up everything in this big room and try to just record it as much of it live. And the same with this album also. It's we played we recorded it in Norway. Beautiful spot, Ocean Sound Recordings. Everyone should check that studio out. Great room, and we for like playing live together as a band, and it's I think that's key.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people nowadays write in sections. Like, some people will come in and just do their drums, and other person will come in and have nothing, and then get those drum tracks, and then compose their thing, and then it's like a building block. More than when you step into the room together, and you guys all need to know your stuff. How did you guys approach that?
I mean, we still, when we write songs, because we're scattered all over Sweden.
Exactly.
That's the way we write stuff. Johannes, he comes up with a riff and he sends it to me, and I do some of my stuff, and then I'll send it to Christian, and then it goes around in a loop. And so when we get together for rehearsal, we know all the songs and what we're about to do, and then we rehearse for a couple of days, and then we record.
Like old school professionals.
I mean,
nowadays we have to learn our own songs. You know?
But I mean, we're it's not like we recorded it. There's still tons of, like, we do
overdubs. Of course,
overdubs, and you listen to stuff and, oh man, that didn't sound right. And me personally, I come up with a lot of, I get inspired when I'm in the studio, so I do most of, like, my lead parts, I come up with them like on the spot, basically. I need some time to try things out and
experiment and let things percolate.
And that's, I mean, what keeps songs alive, I think also, because I don't play, for instance, songs from Somewhere Along the Highway. I don't play them the same way I did when we recorded it, because I play them so much. So I've come up with like new stuff, and I thought, damn, this should have been on the record. But when you play live, you get opportunities to do that. So
you had your chance because you guys put out that live record not too long ago.
Yeah.
So you must have added some stuff there. Yeah, that's interesting. I have to touch on Khoma. Is that the right pronunciation? Yeah. On Khoma, I really enjoyed that project as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
It's like a smoother, with clean vocal.
Yeah.
Cult of Luna.
Yeah.
Lots of moments where I'm like, I feel that could be a Cult of Luna.
Yeah. And I mean, we're basically the same guys, except Jan, who is singing in Khoma, but it's me, Johannes, it's Thomas on drums, and it's Christian that plays keyboards and synths in Cult of Luna, also plays in Khoma. So
where did the necessity for this band arise?
Well, I think Johannes and Thomas had and Jan had a band called Plastic Pride in the 90s and early 2000s, and when they kind of just
dissolved.
Yeah, dissolved. Yeah, and but they wanted to continue, and then but take like some kind of new approach, and they started Khoma, and then it was just around the time I started playing with Cult of Luna as well, and Johannes said, do you want to be a part of this as well? And I said, yeah, let's do something, let's make. And they've already put out one record then called Tsunami. And then we made the second wave. We took some songs of Tsunami, and then we made a couple of more, and then we put that album out. So I think it was just it's a more condensed version of Cult of Luna, I guess. It still has those instrumental parts and the way songs are built up and all of that, but of course the vocals and the melodic parts are much more present
in the forefront, for sure.
Yeah.
Less aggressive, and it still takes you on a bit of a trip, but not as far of the voyage.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment with the success? I think there's a song called Guillotine.
Yeah.
That was used in a movie.
Yeah.
The dragon.
Yes.
The girl with the dragon tattoo.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment that you were thinking that Khoma might become the forerunner band, and Cult of Luna might actually have to take a step back because of the popularity?
Nah, I don't think so. No, not really. But we never. No, I'm just gonna say no.
Because it's a great track, and being in a huge movie, you guys must have been like, "Oh my God, how did this happen?"
Yeah, for sure. But no, I think we've always had the primary focus on Cult of Luna. And
Khoma was just always this secondary
but,
side project.
We worked in cycles that
album cycles.
Yeah. So we so these 2 years we're doing Cult of Luna, and then we're doing Khoma, and then we're doing Cult of Luna. So they were overlapping.
So you guys are always busy.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Because
idle hands. I also have to talk about the Julie Christmas EP. Such a fan of that. The Hermanic vocals.
Yeah. That turned out really well, I think.
How that ever came to be. I'm sure you guys have spoken about it at length.
Yeah, I mean, that's really 100% Johannes. I mean, he and Julie got in contact. I don't really know how, but about doing something together, and we weren't sure if it
would fit.
Would fit or were going to happen, and but there were some songs written, and then she did her thing, and we got it back and listened to it, and like, wow, this is something else.
It's like a whole other beast.
Yeah. It turned out great, and that was such a fun project and fun tour those guys are. She's great, absolutely great. We got to see her last night. She was at
in New York. Yes, of
show.
course. Yes.
Yeah.
I have to ask: is there going to be a part 2?
We don't know. We haven't spoken about it. For now, the answer is no.
Okay, I'm sure there's lots of people that are eager.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see.
Back to craft beer.
Yeah.
To wrap it up, if Cult of Luna could ever make a craft beer, what would it be called, and what style would it be?
Oh, actually, we were approached by. You were talking about Gothenburg earlier. This is a couple of years back, but by a craft beer brewery, and they were. They wanted to make a beer with us, with our name. That was their idea. Was some kind of dark, like a dark lager kind of beer, I would guess. But I would go like for I like pils beer, so
something drinkable.
Yeah, something drinkable, but with a bitter, something
a nice little
bitter.
bitter bite.
Yeah. That's
a Dawn to beer.
Yeah. Why not? That's a good one, actually. I'll take it.
5%. That's all I asked for. Fredrik, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming, being here with me, drinking some craft beer.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to Lagabière Brasserie Artisanale for making the Ukulele IPA. Absolutely delicious.
Yes. Do you have another one?
I don't.
Man.
I should have brought more. Thank you so much, Fredrik.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Have a great show tonight. Cheers. Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. I am such a huge fan of Cult of Luna. As I mentioned at the beginning of this interview with Fredrik, I was super stoked to get this interview, and I had such a great time with Fredrik. My experience at the show just made me even more of a fan. If you can get out to the remaining dates on this Cult of Luna, Emma, Ruth, Rundle, and Intronaut tour, you absolutely should. It is an experience that you absolutely need to have in your life. So a huge shout out to everyone involved in that tour. Special little nod and a love to Chris Noth, the sound man, the TM of that tour. Much love and respect, brother. Can't wait to hang with you again. As always, the best way to support the Vox&Hops podcast is by going to the Vox&Hops Big Cartel page. Anything that I receive through there is greatly appreciated, and there would be no Vox&Hops podcast without all you Vox&Hops heads supporting it since the beginning. Another way that you can help support the podcast is by simply helping me promote it. The best way to do that is to just talk to your friends about it. If you have any craft beer loving friends in your life, if you have any other metalhead loving friends in your circle, you can just tell them to go and subscribe on the podcast platform of their choice, because the Vox&Hops podcast is available on all podcast platforms. And make sure that they like and follow the social media pages, and they can also subscribe on YouTube. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you have a great rest of the week. And I hope that you remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox&Hops heads.